Fox News and Sean Hannity, in this case, get to hold the hugest L possible. They bring on Caitlyn Jenner as a contributor because what we need as a country right now is a delusional 70-year-old man with breast implants weighing in on the issues that really matter. And in this particular interview, Jenner kind of seems to be mailing it in, slumped over in the chair, taking these really long pauses like he just took a bong rip or something. And unfortunately, I don't think that bringing in a transgender person to push back on this specific line of insanity is helping anyone's case. It really just shows me that being transgender, whether you're 7 or 70 years old, is just a little bit silly, to put it nicely. And because the left and the establishment love to retroactively, however carefully, cancel things and bring up old stuff, let us never forget the car crash that Bruce was in that killed someone just before he magically became Caitlyn. It's like they don't remember the "I'm with her, believe all women, time's up" movements of years past, but they do somehow remember a tweet from a guy in 2014 who just got a promotion at work or whatever. So anyways, let's see what these two clowns have to say about this controversial bill in Florida.
With reaction, brand new Fox News contributor, Caitlyn Jenner. We welcome you to the Fox family. One thing you said to me when I heard, and we've known each other for many, many years. We go back decades.
Okay, so Sean knows Caitlyn, or has known Caitlyn, or known Bruce, or whatever, for many, many years. So they both know the truth, but they're pretending that it's not real because they have to capitulate to this mainstream extremism, I suppose. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? They're never going to like you. Nobody on the left is ever going to say, oh, let's watch Fox News now because they have a transgender person. It's not true. We saw it when Caitlyn was running for governor. The left didn't say, oh, let's take this chance to support a transgender individual. No, they said, he voted for Trump, so we got to get rid of it. It doesn't make any sense. They're never going to like you. So why are you still trying? That's my question, but let's continue.
You said, I did all this stuff on reality TV, and I enjoyed it. I had fun doing it, and all your obvious accomplishments in athletics. You said, I'm over that part of my life. This country's in deep trouble. That's where your head is at. That's where your focus is.
Okay, so he's trying to build up Jenner as this big patriotic person. And it's like, dude, you just described his whole life as a literal gold medal athlete, and now he's pretending to be a woman, but he's such a patriot, so let's bring him on Fox and see how we're really going to fight back against this insanity. It doesn't make any sense.
Explain.
It certainly is. That's one of the reasons I ran for governor, is we have to stand up. We have to have, America has to have a stand-up mentality. Yes, I have done a lot in my life, going all the way back to the Olympics. I had a lot of talks, actually, even with you, Sean, and other people at Fox when we were negotiating this deal. As you might know, I am trans, but I'm not a trans activist.
That's false. So first of all, why do they need Caitlyn Jenner? Oh, we're negotiating this deal. Out of all the people you could have brought on, Fox News, you could have brought me on and get some truth out there, but instead you choose to get somebody who's already had like 3 careers and 1 gender transition because you need to fit in with the rest of the awful mainstream media. I'm really not understanding what's happening here. And they both acknowledge that Jenner was once a, exceptional athlete, but now they pretend that at 60 or 70 or whatever years old, you can just change. And that's the only thing that changes. Nothing else changes. I'm still the same person I was before, and I'm going to stand up to the insanity. I'm not an activist. You are an activist. Just by your, I don't want to say existence, but by the way you are carrying yourself now, you are indeed an activist, no matter what you think. But that's where we've come because reality just doesn't matter anymore.
That's just one part of my life. There's so much more to me. But I think in the midterms coming up, LGBT issues are going to be very big issues, and I'm looking forward to covering those. But there's so much more to me than that. Obviously, in 1976, I think was the best Olympics of all time. It was our bicentennial. Our country was 200 years old.
So in 1976, well before I was even born, this person was in the Olympics, and I don't know, 4 decades later decides, oh, no, I'm not that person anymore. And everybody says, yeah, this makes sense. And then to have the nerve to say, I'm going to push back on the very thing that I'm participating in is absolutely insane.
Patriotism was at its height. I have been a patriot my whole life. And my father fought in World War II. My mother's 95. Hi, Mom. She's a...
And just, okay, I'm not going to say that Caitlyn Jenner is not a patriot, because Caitlyn Jenner can certainly be a patriot, but let's not pretend that you are not an activist, bro. Like, you were on reality TV, no pun intended, you transitioned out of that to this role that you're in now. And yeah, you can be a patriot, but let's not pretend that that is not going to overshadow any of your political aspirations or now your media aspirations.
Patriot. I grew up that way, and I want that to continue. I was so proud to be the first.
Well, you don't want it to continue that way. That's why you completely changed yourself.
Person put the American flag up, and I want to continue that.
Let me ask you this, because and you could talk about a variety of subjects. You know, in the case of Florida, first of all, the word gay is not in the bill, so it's ridiculous. They're talking about kids pre-K through 3rd grade.
Okay, just I can't let go of this. Sean Hannity is sitting there trying to have this serious conversation with this old person who's grown his hair out or got these extensions, wearing a blouse, breast implants, all this stuff, and you're just pretending like, yeah, well, you were so good back in the 70s, you're still good now, and I know that you're trustworthy, and how do we fight back in Florida? It's like, bro, it doesn't work like that. You can't just do the thing you claim to be against and then look back at them and say, oh, well, you guys can't do it, but I should. I mean, I guess. But like I said, it's a terrible, people trying to indoctrinate or groom children. That's absolutely awful. But the point I want to make here is that it really doesn't matter whether you're 7 or 70. This line of nonsense doesn't make sense.
Now, most of our kids can't graduate with a reading level that is proficient. Say that we're not proficient in math, science, English, the important core issues. How about we teach the kids that, and then if parents and schools, if they want to have all these woke classes after school, the parents can opt their kids in. Let's do it that way, but let's educate our kids with the basics first.
Okay, fair enough. That obviously makes sense, but you're preaching. Maybe I'll take it back. Maybe it does make sense to preach this line to Caitlyn Jenner because Caitlyn is sort of, on both sides of the fence in this case. So maybe that's a good starting point. But again, the left is never going to look at Caitlyn Jenner and say, all right, we accept you now and we think you're a good person and we're going to listen to you. That's just never going to happen. And as far as teaching kids the basics before teaching them all of these extra genders and sexual preferences and all that stuff, yes, obviously. You think about that woman from Disney who says, oh, I have one pansexual kid and one transgender kid, which is obviously impossible. Just statistically, it doesn't make any sense. But on top of that, think about all of the words, all of the things, all of the activities, all of the hobbies that those kids could have been learning before they were taught what pansexual was. Again, this doesn't make any sense.
Good idea or bad idea? I got about 40 seconds.
Wake up, Caitlyn.
Great.
Yeah, so this is the person that they negotiated a deal with who leans over in the chair. Oh, yeah, it's great. You couldn't find anybody with a little bit more personality, with somebody with a little bit more to say, but you just pulled Caitlyn Jenner off the shelf and said, all right, we're fighting back against the trans, sexual extremism. This doesn't make any sense. And, all transgender stuff aside, this person just doesn't have the personality for TV, in my humble opinion. I didn't watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians or anything like that, but I think that also has something to do with this. While you're surrounded by a whole, 10 or 15 women who constantly know how to get in the news and are constantly taking pictures of themselves, you have zero personality, which I guess kind of makes sense because they don't either, but they were selling something. And Caitlyn, unfortunately, you got nothing here. You got to wake up. You need a cup of coffee or a key bump. I don't know what's going on.
I'm a common sense person, and that is what you call common sense.
I'm a common sense person, and that's what you call common sense. We got to run that one back just a little bit. This is like the passage of time is the passage of time. Let's go back just a little bit. All right. Wake up.
Great. I'm a common sense person, and that is what you call common sense.
I'm a common sense person, and that's what you call common sense, because the passage of time is important, like the passage of time. And that's only Kamala's, I think, latest gaffe, but she's, spit out a bunch of word salad over the past 2 years. And she, Caitlyn Jenner, is doing the same exact thing. And I'm wondering why they are deciding to pay this person to be on TV who clearly doesn't even look like she is awake.
I had 10 children. I helped raise 10 children.
Okay, so Caitlyn Jenner had 10 children, and I guess they want young people to think that Caitlyn Jenner was the mother of those children, when that's obviously not the case.
I have 20 grandchildren. I am all for
20 grandchildren, 10 children, 20 grandchildren, and people who are, in their teens right now are probably going to think that Caitlyn Jenner is the actual grandmother and mother of those people.
For parental rights. Yes,
20 grandchildren.
In fact,
by the way, and your kids are like the wealthiest kids. Combined, they may own more than half the country. All right, Caitlyn.
I did a good job.
Yeah,
I did a good job with him and this and that. But honestly, I was holding my 1-week-old granddaughter, little Goldie Jenner,
real quick,
just last week, and I was thinking, what's their future? What are we going to do? What's her life going to be like? Yeah.
All right, well,
I want to help change
welcome
that.
aboard. I got to say goodbye. We'll have you back soon. When we come back, the great.
Okay, well, that was incredibly awkward. I don't think Caitlyn Jenner, transgender or not, deserves to be on Fox News because she has zero personality. And Sean Hannity is becoming a hack, and Fox News is falling into the weirdo pit of left-wing indoctrination. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It's fairly triggering for me to watch these people pretend like this all makes sense. The same thing we saw the handsome young woman from Oakland, the Jeopardy champion, at the White House the other day for Trans Day of Visibility. And we're all just supposed to pretend that this makes sense. Let this person spew out of their mouth that, oh, kids are going to die if you don't give them this transgender health care, which I won't get into that. But none of this makes any sense. And I don't know how we're going to climb out of it.